Welcome back to another episode of The Sport of Luxury. I'm your host, Darius Holly, and today I got a very special guest, man. My bro here is very low-key, just like me, so I was glad that he was willing to come through and chop it up with me. But look, when you see his name under his feet, man, look, the man's name is not Will, all right? He told me, y'all be in his DM like, yo, Will, let's work, let's whoop. Let's put that to a stop right here on The Sport of Luxury. I got my boy Trey from That's Beside the Point. How you feeling today, man? How you doing?
Feeling good, man. Thank you for having me. Getting the year off on the right foot, so.
That's amazing, man. It's amazing. So like I said, Trey is one of the founders of That's Beside the Point, a creative collective who last April partnered with the Esme Hotel and Tequila 512 for an exclusive food and cocktail experience titled Off the Menu. And I ain't gonna lie, when I seen it, I was like, that's the Sport of Luxury all day long. That's some fly shit. I love it. So, talk about the planning of that and how that came about.
I think let's start off with That's Beside the Point. Just a group of friends, really.
Word.
Prior to COVID, they had known each other for a while. I was busy doing a lot of different things, so I wasn't in town as much. COVID obviously slowed everything down for everybody, so I made a point to really get involved with the people in my community. And so that's how I met the guys, Arthur, Avery, Dev, and CJ. Kind of just hit it off natural chemistry, right? It had nothing to do with business. It was just, try to be intentional about surrounding yourself with people that you get along with, that you vibe with, that you have a lot in common with. So it started there, and we were all working in different spaces creatively, to whether it was a collective project or separate projects. But we just out to lunch one day and was like, man, what if we just all did something together? And it started from what if we all did something together to being intentional about investing in each other's projects. So taking some time to not only just be there to support, to show up for the finished product, but have part in the process of putting it together. And that's really where the journey started. That's where the name came from. So everybody sees the end result, but that's beside the point. The real love and the real investment comes in through, part A to Y. Z is just the end of it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it happened. But Off the Menu was great. It was in partnership with Esme. We're all in a run club together with one of the event coordinators at Esme. So Pal was super, super important in putting that together and making it happen. And we were able to get a tequila sponsor. Obviously, we found 3 great bartenders, guys we were really close with at Soho House. Trey, Mike, and Kev, love you guys. But it was just how do we showcase not only what we do for fun and the things that we enjoy, but take a moment to really appreciate those who make it happen, because Soho wouldn't be Soho without them. Mm-hmm. So that was the real key point of it, and getting the right crowd in there, being intentional, not only about what you wanted to do, where it was, and who was going to be there was big too. So it was executive great. Yeah. Collective effort all around. I think if you take any one person out of it, it wouldn't have went off the way it went.
Nice. So with that night, at what point did you realize, like, man, this is a successful night, Like, at what point in the night did you, look around at the crowd, the attendees, and be like, yeah, we did that?
I think it was tough to do it in the moment, to really appreciate it. I think once you started to see the room fill, you had like the feeling of, okay, the crowd is coming together. But when you talk about the full impact of the moment, I don't think we were able to really appreciate it in the moment, because it was so many moving parts, and we were all on our feet taking care of it to make sure it went off without a hitch. But it was that moment of getting, really, once you started to end it, and people would come up to you to tell you, oh, I'm so grateful that I'm here. I really appreciate you guys did something completely different that we're not used to seeing here, that we're not used to feeling. It's so easy to party, right? Yeah. You can go have a party anywhere. I don't want to say anybody can throw a party. It takes intention to execute a very well planned party.
For sure.
But in a city like Miami, parties are frequent. And we wanted to kind of go off of that path and do something different, and Off the Menu was perfect for that. And I think it was a launching pad for us, got us on the right foot, and we've got some stuff set up for this year already, centered around the Miami Marathon, so that'll be great.
Nice, man. That's what's up, man. So before, there was upscale exclusive events, take us back to tour life with Henny Palooza, and working with artists such as Pusha T, Wale, Cameron, just to name a few.
So Henny Palooza was in motion prior to my involvement in it. Started out with a group of friends in New York, and I met them just by chance, really. Started to get involved 2018. The tour was really starting to pick up, so we made the transition from Henny Palooza to Duce Palooza. Was able to kind of switch the partnership up a little bit, and with the change came a little bit more creative control, gave the opportunity to kind of really take it from one point to the next. And it was just fortunate to be a part of, and I think that chapter, has closed, but was so instrumental not only to professional development, but personal development. It was like a period of my life where I was transitioning out of what I had done before and trying to really figure out, outside of what I do day to day for work, what do I want my life to look like? Like, what are the things that I like? What do I want to get involved with? And that experience, not just the places, more importantly, the people involved with it. Some of my best friends were involved in that. To this day, I hold them dearly to my heart. So it was, I would say, a life-changing experience for me. Not so much the party, but just the process of being around those people, being in those environments, seeing the execution go off, and really at the end of the day, being able to look back on it and say, I'm better for it.
First of all, that's good that it was a very transitional part in your life, and I think that's major when you can look back and pinpoint with that being such a large party, a big staple in the community, but it's it was deeper to you, I think that's always special, so, but talk about some of the cities y'all stopped in, though, when it did come down to the party, and just, I know it was a lot of fun. What kind of cities, what cities was y'all in?
New York, D.C., L.A., couple in Miami, Atlanta, Houston.
All over.
Yeah, made it to the Virgin Islands. So it was definitely well-traveled. I think it was a one-on-one experience. Like, you can, again, back to the point of throwing a party, anybody can up and throw a party, but it takes a very intentional person to have a design in place to say, I want to do this like this with these people in this place, and I want it to be executed on a scale that can't be replicated. And I think really the capstone for us was Barclays Center, 2019, really December of 2019 to close the year out. If you really look at the pictures, it looks like a concert. You want to talk about tens of thousands of people there for a party.
Yeah, that's major.
Yeah, seeing, like you said, kind of being able to be involved with artists that were both well-established, legacy acts, as well as up-and-coming artists was very instrumental in just seeing how the business of that unfolded. Helped me build my business acumen and understanding how, the entertainment industry isn't as easy as just shaking hands and saying you're going to do something. You got to put the work in, you got to put the effort in, and being able to see people who are masters at their crafts, whether it be, marketing, whether it be brand relationships, whether it be photography, videography, everything took somebody to really step up and take charge of it to make sure everything was executed right.
Like you said, man, a lot of moving parts, man.
A lot.
It's for sure. So, speaking of the moving parts, though, what would you say was some of the challenges, that came with throwing a party to this magnitude, though?
I think especially late in the tenure of Henny Palooza and Duce Palooza is you start to see people get recognition for what it is that's being done.
Yeah.
And they start to be able to really enjoy their success, and they have opportunities afforded to them to go on and do different things. And it was, as the party grew in popularity and in what it was, people's doors opened for everybody. And it became, an act of labor to really try to make everything happen and get everybody in the same place at one time. Our photographer, Raven, missed an entire year of it, basically, while she was shooting the On Her Own 2 tour with Jay-Z and Beyonce. So that's just a piece of it where, she was obviously great aside from Palooza and that particular moment, but that was just one example of people getting opportunities off of that and having to come back and make a point to say, okay, I got to get back to my people. I got to get back to something that we did collectively.
Word. So spinning back to that's beside the point, and the off the menu event. How did the experience with Henny Palooza translate into just curating events now? With things that y'all done in the past, things that you got planned. How does it translate?
I think the biggest thing was scale, understanding the scale of it. What do we do? What do we do, and what don't we do? Yeah. What do we want to stay away from? What do we want to lean more into? And obviously, you can't really. Your plan on day one is not going to be your plan on day 90. You got to be adaptable. You got to be able to shift. And so we've been able to navigate that for the most part. It was just, I think, for me, learning that it's never as simple as you think. Like even having to connect with the hotel and knowing the bartenders, it was still if we really want it to be executed how we want it to be executed, it's going to take a lot more work than just relying on the relationships that we have. It's going to take waking up and meeting at 9 in the morning, staying up and having, group calls at 11 o'clock at night to make sure everything is going the way we want it, because I don't want to get there. They didn't want to get there. We didn't want to get there the day of and be like, we should have took care of this 2 weeks ago. Oh, I knew we talked about this and we didn't follow up on it, or whatever potential problem could have arose. But we were super intentional about our preparation and making sure everything was executed the right way, and the finished product spoke for itself.
Amazing. Yeah. That's not hard to tell, man. Y'all did y'all thing. That was an amazing event. And when can we expect the next one?
Like I said, right now we've got our focus on an event around the Miami Marathon.
Okay.
So we're gonna get involved. We're locked in on that right now. Definitely in the talks though. We've got some other locations that we've tapped to try to, we're gonna go in, kind of do a walkthrough, see how it fits for how we want the idea to grow, and go from there. But I would say soon.
Nice. Soon. Okay. Nice. I love to hear that. So speaking of the marathon, at the Sport of Luxury, man, we definitely value the luxury of health. And I want to kind of dive into the fitness things, the fitness side of things, in your world, because I know it's a big part of your world. How are you preparing for this marathon? Because I know you'll be running in it.
Yeah, so I'm doing a half marathon, 13.1 miles, probably be first and last for me. But it's been good, man. I think the running in large part has been something that I've leaned into in this phase of my life. My athletic background was all around track, basketball, and football, so nothing that really required long distance running.
Yeah.
And so when I first started, I couldn't finish a 5K, and that's only 3 miles. And I think because I wasn't good at it, I leaned into it, and it was just something for me to go after. I think in every phase of my life, I've been able to find a goal to challenge myself to, not only something that inspires me to wake up, but something that I have to be disciplined for. And it's been great. Running has truly been, a new door for me, and not only from a physical and health challenge standpoint, but socially, it's changed a lot for me.
Yeah.
There's an entire community around running that I don't think really gets the flowers that it deserves. Great people involved with it, and it's not, again, when you talk about being intentional about things, Arthur and the community he's built is not by accident. Everything's by design. The way he has changed running culture is by design. There's a reason that he's been able to be involved with Nocta, been able to be involved with Nike Running, and when it comes to, the run scene in Miami, you can't get through it without mentioning his name. So he's done a great job of not only taking the platform that was already there, but molding it into what he wanted it to be, and really, creating his own lane for what running could be, especially in South Florida, especially with, minority cultures and things like that. It stands by itself.
Word, man. Shout out to Arthur, man. Yeah, being here in Miami, I have seen the culture of running is definitely huge, and it definitely helps, man. We got good weather down here, so you can run all year round. You don't got to worry about it being too cold,
right,
things of that nature. So you mentioned your sports background, basketball, track, football, even playing football at Vanderbilt. So how has that played a big role in just you staying on top of your fitness today?
I think it's everything. I think even outside of fitness, my sports background is the foundation of who I am as a person. Helped me build my core values, to where I'm able to take those in every chapter of my life. I'm able to be reliable, be adaptable, be gracious, and be disciplined. And I take that with me everywhere I go. I think it's been, I would say, the biggest blessing and also the hardest part of my life was after breaking my leg and transitioning out of sports, following like a very brief stint in the NFL. I don't even know what's next for me because my whole identity at that time was just deeply invested in, I'm going to play ball, I'm going to buy my mom a crib, I'm going to buy my mom a car, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And to have it just taken away, right? And people say life isn't fair, but until you're in a situation where you're really faced with, how finite anything could be, you don't really get it. And so it was very hard to kind of pick myself back up and really find my way. And I think it was at that point where I met the crowd with Palooza. And like I said, a few of those people are still like some of my dearest friends to this day. So not only the moment, but the people helped me, pick myself up and get on my feet and try to find, what's next for you. How do you reinvent yourself and how do you take the next step forward? You can sit there and feel sorry for yourself all day, but it was so instrumental in me being who I am today that I don't think anybody needs to go to college to be successful. I don't think anybody needs to play sports to be successful, but I will say that there are things that you cannot get in other places that occur in settings like that. Social skills, the ability to overcome obstacles. It's hard to really replicate how it manifests in those spaces and other situations. And I just think it changed my life for the best. I would encourage everybody in some way, get involved with some type of team, regardless of what phase of your life you're in. It definitely, shaped me for the better.
Nice, amazing, man. So you mentioned having good people in your corner, as you was making that transition. So with that, and speaking on football, talk to me, man. Who is Jim Smith to you, or you may know him as Jay Smitty?
Jay Smitty.
Jim Smith. He credits you heavy for improving his game.
So when I first started working, right, when I first transitioned out of the football space, I was working in the automotive industry. Still am working in the automotive industry, but he was a dealer's son. Yeah, he was a dealer's son. And just in conversation with his dad at the dealership, he was talking about, my son plays football, and you should take some time to talk to him if you get a chance. I have him up here over the weekend or whatever. So I think it was just a chance for me to kind of reconnect with ball, as well as try to pay it forward. I think if you've been given a blessing, it's not yours to keep to yourself. And that was an opportunity for me to kind of show up for him and really pay it forward. And to this day, still in touch with his dad. He was maybe 14 at the time. Going on to college, doing great, still staying in touch here and there. But I think that was kind of the first opportunity for me to really understand as an adult that it's bigger than me.
For sure, no. So shout out to you for just paying it forward, paying the grind forward, and shout out to him for hustling and taking heed to your wisdom. So Trey, man, let's talk about a luxury in your life right now that you just personally value.
My health.
Yeah.
My health. I think to kind of give a little context about why it's so important for me is my father passed away when he was 25 from a heart attack, which is obviously insane from any angle you look at it.
Absolutely.
But I think, subconsciously in my early and mid-20s, it was always in the back of my head that it could happen to me at any moment. And so just being super intentional about taking care of myself, taking care of my body, not just physically, but mentally as well, emotionally. Obviously, at this point, I think growing up, I've never felt like I missed anything by not having my dad around. But I think it was at the point where I realized I was older than he was. Once I had passed the entire span of his life, it was like, I have no reference point
Right.
for being an adult man. You know, you take things from what you see from, you know, the internet or whatever the case may be. But in terms of like a close contact, I didn't have that. And I think that brought it all back to he smoked a lot. And it was like, I wonder if he would have took better care of himself, what the impact would be, not just on my life, but on his life, right? And that's kind of why I take health and wellness so serious. I think the foundation of any good life is a healthy life. And you can define health in so many ways, but a large part of that is physically being able to show up for yourself. You know, you can't really be a good person for anybody else if you don't show up for yourself day one. So
I agree 100%, 100%. So I want to transition from that. You know, I know that, you know, you are a big wine aficionado. You might not look yourself like that, but I know you know your stuff, man. And I know we in dry January right now, but what's your favorite wine right now?
I have always been a fan of Freak Show.
Yeah.
I came across that at Trader Joe's like 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. It's a cab, kind of heavy. It's my go-to. I've started to since I've started dating my girlfriend, started to open up a little more to white wine, which I guess is a little bit backwards. People typically start with white wine and then work their way into red, but that's my go-to. I drink that by the bottle. There was a point. I'm not proud to say it, but there was a point during COVID where I was going through maybe 4 or 5 of those a week.
A week?
Yeah.
So how long would a bottle last in the crib?
It depends. If it is a casual evening and I'm having a glass, make it stretch a few days.
Okay.
But if it's a Friday night, there's nothing to do, I'm full, and I'm just sitting in the crib, it might not see the next morning.
Word. Well, I'm gonna make sure I have a bottle of that for you, man, at the end of your marathon, man.
I appreciate it. Sure. Yeah, I'm trying to stay locked in until then.
Yeah.
We 5-6 days in right now, so I'll do the best I can.
For sure, man. Well, is there anything else you want to leave the people with, man? Any other exciting things coming in the near future?
I think, like I said, super excited for what's in store this year. For that's beside the point. Myself personally and professionally, you know, continue to build on it. I think if I had to leave some, you know, departing wisdom with people watching or listening, just take care of yourself. Just take care of yourself. You never know. You know, my cousin's father recently passed, and she's dealing with that right now. And you know,
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and it's just you never know.
Yeah,
you never know. So do the best you can to show up for yourself, so you can show up for others.
100%, man. Well said. Well, my brother, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. And thank you all for watching. That's another episode of The Sport of Luxury, and I'll see you on the next one.